Welcome to 28storms.com. This is your tropical weather update for Saturday, October 15th. The National Hurricane Center is monitoring two areas of low pressure for development. The first one is located in the western Caribbean and the Yucatan Peninsula. We do see a broad overall circulation, but nothing is well defined at the surface just yet. And on the latest enhanced infrared, we still continue to see a lot of widespread convection, and this has been ongoing for the last 48 hours. It looks as though upper level winds will remain marginally favorable for at least the next 72 hours. Thereafter, as we go on into Monday evening and Tuesday, a mid to upper level trough will dive out of the southeast United States, inducing much more in the way of southwest wind shear, thus ending the prospects for any development thereafter. But again, the next 72 hours, this system will have a slight window to potentially become a very weak tropical depression or tropical storm that will be mainly impacting the eastern half of the Yucatan Peninsula. However, it still looks as though the overall chances for tropical cyclone classification are probably just under 50%, and either way, the chances of this really providing much more than just some heavy rainfall and some isolated wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour, it really doesn't look like it's going to do much more than that. Elsewhere in the Atlantic Basin, much of the conditions out there are not favorable for tropical weather development. We do have a small disturbance beginning to work its way into the southeast part of this picture. And if we go ahead and look at the visible, you can see that there was a partially exposed low-level surface circulation that has become more ill-defined over the last 6 hours. And you can see that there is some widespread disorganized convection associated with it, but going back to the water vapor, we see a very large trough of unfavorable conditions over much of the central Atlantic, and that is not good news for this system. As it continues to move northwest, it's going to get sheared apart, and no development is going to occur. If we go ahead and take a close look at the latest wind shear charts, we see that there is a favorable upper level ridge that has made itself a little bit more prominent over the western portion of the Caribbean. So once again, upper level conditions are favorable for this system to at least try to get its act together. But as you can see, if this begins to turn more toward the northeast, which in time it more than likely will, it's going to get sheared apart due to these unfavorable westerly winds dominating much of the Gulf of Mexico. It does not look as though these upper level winds will relax anytime soon. In fact, as that trough begins to come down more into the northern Gulf, it looks like the conditions will only become worse. So this is not much of a threat to Florida or the rest of the United States for that matter. If anything, it may provide Florida with some slightly elevated rain chances out ahead of that cold front as we go into the middle part of next week, but that's about it. If we venture out into the eastern Pacific, we will find that the tropics are now much more calm following Hurricane Hova. But believe it or not, we're still dealing with Tropical Storm Irwin well to the southwest of Manzanillo, Mexico. It's really not impacting any portions of the coast at all. And in fact, it looks like it's on its last leg. If we go ahead and look at the last few frames, the surface circulation is becoming more exposed to the north as the convection gets shunted off toward the south. And again, that's due to a lot of wind shear that is now being imposed by the upper level wind pattern. We have a lot of ridging setting up over much of the Baja Peninsula, and that is forcing the storm to move in a general west-southwest to southwest direction. And along with it, all of the convection is being blown away from the center, and Irwin is likely going to dissipate for good here within the next 24 to 36 hours. And so if we go ahead and look into the future using the latest 12Z model guidance, starting off with the CMC model, you will find that the broad area of vorticity and low pressure over the western Caribbean is forecast to just slowly drift off toward the west-northwest over the Yucatan Peninsula, and toward the middle and latter half of the period it's going to be shunted toward the east due to that cold front. And I'm sure that some of the energy will be absorbed by that system and then get thrown into Florida, but again, that's only going to help to increase the rain chances a little bit. And this is in overall agreement with the latest 18Z GFS forecast that is now playing. And you see that the broad area of low pressure, once it starts over again, is just simply going to meander around the Yucatan Peninsula until about Monday or Tuesday morning, and then thereafter it pretty much dissipates as that trough comes in. The rest of the Atlantic and the eastern Pacific are generally quiet, although we will still continue to monitor the monsoon trough over the eastern Pacific, especially as we go into days 5 through 7. Also, the 12Z European model is showing much of the same. You see the broad area of low pressure over the western Caribbean quite well, and as we go into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday morning, the low pressure has not moved much, but it's now located over the northern half of the Yucatan Peninsula. You can also see the broad trough over the eastern United States beginning to come down toward the south, and along with it we have a surface low developing over the Tennessee Valley, and we will have a cold front extending more down toward the southwest. And then by Wednesday and Thursday, Notice that much of the energy associated with this system has been absorbed and also pushed off toward the northeast. We may have a little remnant area of low pressure over the western Caribbean, but none of the models are showing any additional development throughout the remainder of the next 5 to 10 days. So thank you very much for tuning in to the latest 28storms.com update. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, that's youtube.com/28storms. And you can follow all of our latest updates, whether it be United States or tropical weather related. Go to facebook.com/28storms. Thank you and have a good evening.